Have you ever loved something so much that you just had to have it, but found it was sold out? Yep, me too. Well, this is a video of how I made this sold out dress that I loved so much. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and let's get into the video. I went ahead and studied the dress. We see that the dress has 5 tiers, and because of the amount of fabric that I had, I skipped on 1 tier. From what I see, the dress is shirred at the top and the tiers are gathered, so we want to add at least 1.5 times whatever your bust measurement is and your hip measurement. For the last 2 tiers, I multiplied my hip measurement times 2. Next measurements we need are the tiers, so we're going to take top of the bust to waist, waist to hip, hip to midi, and your midi section to your ankle, but you're free to take whatever measurements you like. You can screenshot this image for reference, but it's also found on my blog. For my fabric, I used 6 yards of cotton gauze fabric, 3 yards for each color. I measured the length of fabric as earlier calculated. The width of my fabric is 45 inches, so I had to cut several panels to get the width that I needed. Here I'm cutting out my second tier, which is the waist to hip length, and the width is my hip width times 1.5. I have all my pieces cut out, and next thing is to pin and sew all your panels together. If you don't have a serger for a cleaner finish, you can simply do a French seam. That works perfectly. At this point, you can connect the 2 bottom tiers together. Because of the type of fabric I'm using, this is an easier way to prep your fabric for sewing. So after you do this, you can go ahead and hem the top of the bodice and the bottom tier of your dress. Once you're done pressing, you can go ahead and sew those down. Next, we are prepping to shear, so go ahead and hand wind your bobbin. And once done, go ahead and place it back in the bobbin case and you can put it back in your sewing machine. If you have a brother's sewing machine, please watch the video that I did showing you how to shear using a brother's sewing machine. To help you shear in a straight line, I suggest marking out your lines on the fabric. I'm using a pen with disappearing ink, and the lines can be about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch wide. Make sure your machine is threaded properly, and you can go ahead and test and see if your fabric will shear. My fabric was bunching up, and so that shows that I did it right. So you can go ahead and shear the rest of your bodice. The lines we drew on the fabric earlier should help you sew in a straight line. Mine are very faint, but they're there and they're helping me sew in my straight line. After that, I did a gathering stitch on the top tier that is supposed to connect to the bodice. I then went ahead and connected the bodice to the hip tier. I highly suggest doing this before you shear your bodice because it will make things so much easier. So connect all of your tiers together and then shear at the end. Once I was done pinning the bodice and the hip tier, I went ahead and sewed those down. And like I said, do all of this before you have to shear because it will make things easier for you. And this is what the dress looked like after I was done. Now onto the straps. I cut 3 inches wide by 20 inches long and 4 pieces of those, and I folded them in half and sewed those down. I didn't want to use a safety pin to turn the straps inside out, so this is the method that I'm using to kind of pre-turn the straps inside out as I sew. Makes it easier for me, and at the end of this, I don't have to turn the straps inside out. I am folding in and sewing down the other end of the strap. Once that's done, you can go ahead and press your straps. To figure out where you want your straps placed, you can try on your dress and just pin it where you would like it to go. Once you figure that out, you can go ahead and sew your straps down onto the dress. And voila, this is the final look. I'm excited to see what you guys end up making. Be sure to tag me on social media. I will leave that information in the description box. Be sure to like and subscribe, and also turn on your notifications so that you know when I post a new video. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.